Hi, it's Robbi Kearns, and welcome to Guidance from Gratitude's podcast. In each episode, I hope to accomplish a few things. One is I want to give you definitions for terms within the spiritual world that you might hear if you go to a workshop, but you might not know what they mean. People might throw out words or phrases that you don't know what they are, and you might be too afraid to ask what they are. So in this segment, I'm going to share a little bit of information about that with you. Also, each month, my friend Nicole and I are going to share information about a specific archangel or ascended master that you can learn more about and begin to work with them through knowing about them. This is for you, so if you have any questions or topics you want me to discuss, please reach out and let me know, and I'll be more than happy to do that. Just email readings@guidancefromgratitude.com. Readings@guidancefromgratitude.com. For my first Spirituality 101 segment, I'd like to talk a little bit about the idea of spirit partners. You might be sitting in a workshop and someone throws out, ask your guides or work with your spirit partners. And you might not know what that means. So I wanted just to share my idea about what that is. For me, spirit partners are helping us along our spiritual path. It could be an angel. It could be our guardian angel. It could be our spirit guides. It could be an archangel. It could be ascended masters, God. It could be your ancestors as well. So I want to talk a little bit about all of those very briefly, and if you have questions, again, email me and I can take it up in the next podcast and share some thoughts maybe in between podcasts with that as well. So let's just start with guardian angels. Before I launch into this, I want to share everything that I say is my belief system. That does not mean that you have to agree with it. We can disagree on things and still respect each other. So please know that these are my thoughts, and I want you to take what resonates with you and toss out the rest, because I'm not telling you how to think. I'm sharing with you my thoughts and ideas about this, because that is what I believe is our own personal journey. We're supposed to take in information, process it, see what resonates, and then let go of what doesn't. So please do that anytime that we're having these conversations or I'm talking. Back to guardian angels. Guardian angels, to me, is the angel, or you might have more than one, that is assigned to you through all your lifetimes. I believe in reincarnation. I believe that we are here multiple times, many, many, many times, to work through whatever it is that we need to and learn the lesson until we are at the point where we don't have to come back. And then we're able to come back and help other people. So that is my belief of what a guardian angel is. They are assigned to us from before, from our first lifetime. They go through all of our lifetimes with us, helping us to learn the lessons while we're on earth and then assess what we need to work on when we're back in spirit in between lifetimes. They know us more intimately and deeply than anyone else does, and they're here just to help us navigate life. One thing I do want to say is that as humans, we have free will. So people sometimes say, well, why did my angels and guides let me do that? It's because we have free will, and we do things all the time that maybe we shouldn't, or maybe we should, but it's a lesson that we need to learn at that moment, and something we have to go through so we don't keep repeating it. But our guardian angels and all of our spirit partners, they do not intervene on our behalf for the most part, unless it's like emergency, but they let us learn the lessons we need to along the way. Because we do have free will, we have to ask them to support us and to guide us along the way. And then after we ask, we have to listen and really take heed of the messages that we're receiving from them and put them into action. So guardian angels are there through our daily lives and through multiple lifetimes, across all lifetimes, to guide us through our path. We also have spirit guides. And my belief about spirit guides is that we have multiple spirit guides that come in to help us with whatever it is we need. It's kind of like specialties. So I know for me, one very distinct experience I had was many years ago, 20 plus years ago. I was writing in my journal, and which is something I haven't really done consistently. So for me to remember this is pretty striking. And I wrote down the name Clarissa. And I don't know anyone named Clarissa. It's not a common name. And I was questioning why Clarissa. And I just heard, hold on to this name. You'll know when you know. Like, okay. I went through a workshop, a really intensive weekend workshop. And during that workshop, I decided I needed to step into service. I needed to share the information and the knowledge that I had been gaining through all of the different workshops and readings and the work that I had been doing. I knew that it could help others. And so I decided that it was time for me to step into service. And the next day, I went to start my Facebook group and get my website domains and all of that kind of stuff to start set up the actual outward appearance of this work. And when I did, I heard in my head, I'm Clarissa, and I'm here to help you with this. And basically, it's about time. So, but everything happens in divine time. So she introduced herself to me when it was time. What I found really interesting was that I had talked to several people over the years about my spirit guides. And I had asked, they had said, oh, well, you have this many spirit guides and here are their names and this is what they're here to help you with, which was a lovely, wonderful experience. But then in the end, I'd say, well, what about Clarissa? Is there a Clarissa that you feel or hear? And they're like, no, I don't. So I just found it very interesting that this spirit guide was so personal to me that no one else had encountered her energy, because she was really not going to step up until I decided I was going to do this work. And then she's just been here in such a beautiful way with me. So that was a long way of saying your spirit guides come in and out of your life when you need them. So there might be a spirit guide that helps you feel protected. There might be a spirit guide that helps you with creative projects. For me, Clarissa helps me with the readings and sessions that I conduct with my clients, and just brings through the information that I need in that moment. Because they're not angels, they are the people who have lived on earth, and they have gone back into spirit, learning the lessons that they can come through and share with you about what it is you're facing in that moment. So for me, Clarissa was probably someone who had done readings and sessions in her lifetime, and now she's coming back to help me with that. So that's my thoughts on spirit guides. Let's see, who else do we have? Archangels. Archangels are the higher level angels. They're kind of the managers of other angels that come through and help us with other things. But they're basically archetypes. So you have, so many archangels. There's two kind of controversial topics about archangels that I've found. One is how many there are, and two is their sex. And some people get really up in arms about both things. I say whatever you believe is great, as long and also all of these in my mind, I like to joke that they don't care what you call them as long as you call them. So if you want to call if you call an archangel a guardian angel or a spirit guide, it doesn't matter. As long as you're working with them and connecting through to their love and accepting their guidance, that's all that matters. They're operating from love and feeling. So that's really the big takeaway of this. But back to the archangels. I've studied 15 major archangels, and you can learn more about that in the on-demand workshop on my website, guidancefromgratitude.com. I have a workshop there that I did with Nicole, who you'll meet in another segment today, where we talk about Archangel Azrael. We talked through the 15 archangels with Nicole, my dear friend Lisa Espinosa, as well as Chip Coffey, psychic medium Chip Coffey. There's a workbook that has information about each archangel that you can download and review, and you have access to the video as well. So I'm not going to go into the specific archangels, but they basically have things that you can call upon them to help you work through. And then there's ascended masters. Again, ascended masters are humans that have gone into spirit, and they have ascended their human lifetime. They're not coming back into a physical body, and they are there now to help from the other side. So examples of ascended masters could be Buddha, that could be White Eagle, it could be Saint Germain. There's so many, and you can learn about those in a lot of different places. One place that I really loved learning about the Ascended Masters is the Keepers of the Light deck by Kyle Gray. It's an oracle deck, but it works through the Ascended Masters, so you can learn a lot about them. I just go through and pull an Ascended Master every couple of days and see who I need to learn from, and from that, just take the lessons and learn as much as I can. So that is a general overview. And the reason I say spirit partners instead of trying to address them all is because, again, they don't care what we call them as long as we call them to work with them. Our spirit partners are here to help us, but as humans, we have free will. And so they aren't going to come through and just hand us all of the information that we might be struggling to get if we're not open to receiving it and asking them. And that's one of the reasons why I start every meditation I do thanking my spirit partners for being with me and thanking them for sharing with me what I need to know. That gives them permission to be present. I'm connecting with their energy because thanking someone for something means it's already happened. And then I'm thanking them for sharing what I need to know because I don't know what I need to know. I don't want to be that arrogant to think that I know what I need to know. So stepping into that energy and then paying attention, really having my eyes open, being able to see things in a different way so I can receive the information and guidance that I want. If you have any questions about this, please email me, readings@guidancefromgratitude.com. I look forward to sharing information about the Archangels and Ascended Masters with you over the coming podcast. And as I mentioned, we're going to start with Archangel Azrael. Since starting Guidance from Gratitude, I found many people are looking for that spiritual home and community where they can feel safe exploring various areas of spirituality. Because of this, my main focus the past few months has been growing our spiritual study group, which launched back in January, but we revamped it a little bit. This is a monthly group that you can come to, and we have a topic each month that we focus on. This month is fear and doubt and how to move past and transform through those. We have several Zoom meetings each month, as well as a group gallery reading, which now has turned into Development Circle, where other people are joining in on the readings, which I just love. So this is really a loving, supporting community. If you're interested in learning more, you can at www.robbykearns.com. I hope that you'll consider joining us for our spiritual study group. So welcome back. This is Robbi of Guidance from Gratitude, and I have with me my dear friend Nicole Schoen, who I met through different groups. I saw her on a Zoom one time. I think it was in either Radley's group or Kyle Gray's group, and I immediately said, I want to be her friend. And luckily that has come to pass. So I'm really, really grateful for that friendship. Today, we come through with messages from Archangel Azrael that we wanted to share with you and just to teach you a little more about Azrael. So, Nicole, thank you so much for being part of this and being my partner in this sharing information about the Archangels.
No, I'm honored to do it. Thank you for asking.
I know that we've been talking before we started recording about Archangel Azrael and how he's been coming through to us. But before we start talking about that, why don't you just share some basic information about Azrael and what he is here to help us with?
I just absolutely love Azrael. I feel like he has such a bad rap, because he's sort of known as the angel of death. And I think a lot of people just have that in their mind, this like hooded angel that comes and shows up at that time and nobody wants to really see him, which it's the exact opposite. He's the one that is just filled with so much love and so much compassion and fills us with so much peace. that will follow him to heaven. And just to know that he'll be with us and with our loved ones when they cross over through that transition it's just such a comfort. He's the angel of transition and change. So he's so much more than just helping souls cross over, but also helping families with grief. He helps anyone with grief, and that's beautiful. But more than that, he can help us through any transition, from childhood into adulthood, from adulthood into parenthood, into our golden years. Like, there's just so many transitions we go through in life that he can be such a source of comfort for. I just find him to be the most beautiful energy. They say, right, that he is so beautiful that once you see him, you would follow him anywhere. And I find that I have the most profound experiences with him. At first, he would show up in my meditations and I'd get nervous because you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Is somebody going to pass? But it wasn't that. It never was. It was really just that I needed that real feeling of safety and love and compassion, unbelievable compassion.
You touched on this, but he's not only there to carry the souls to heaven, but also to support and comfort those that are left behind.
Yeah.
But as you said, not only in a time of death or the ultimate transition, but any type of transition or any struggle that we're facing is what I really have been feeling from Azrael so much lately. And, there's an ascended master named Love Eagle. Love Eagle and White Eagle are bringing this balanced energy, male, female energy. And Love Eagle is very similar where, if you imagine Azrael, some people see him as like this creamy white, beautiful white color. And if you imagine his wings just wrapping around you, the same with Love Eagle, bringing that comfort and support that you might need as you allow change, or as you learn a new lesson, or decide to let go of things that you no longer need. Those are all transitions. So as you're thinking about how to work with Azrael, think beyond just the death or a transition. Think about any type of change in your life where you might need support, and let this beautiful feeling of peace and love and comfort surround you, so you are reminded that your guides and angels are with you, so you can have the courage to step out of whatever it is, or to sit and look at it in a different way from that place of knowing you're taken care of.
Absolutely.
That's how I think of Azrael. And today, something that came to me earlier, and I hadn't really looked at my notes because I've just been feeling it so much, but because he is the archangel that helps transition souls to heaven, he's also kind of like the patron of mediums and counselors. And then when I went back to my notes, I saw that. And it's interesting. So if you are trying to up your mediumship, or if you are, want to speak with someone who's passed away, family member that you're really in that place of sorrow and missing in a very deep way, you can ask Azrael to share a message from them or help you connect with them in some way. So that's something
I love
really
that.
cool.
I also just want to add that I found for myself, like with mediumship, and the times that I'd experienced a soul, coming to me with messages, for me personally, because I'm not a medium, I just have some, experiences, but it was very physical for me. As soon as they're in the room, I feel it very physical, and I didn't find it comfortable. I found a lot of pressure with it. But when I have called Azrael in, the whole energy feels different. It feels gentler on me physically. And the message is so loving. It's not just like, which is a wonderful message, just to know I'm here, and I still have my same personality and all of that, but it almost cuts through to like, what do we really need to hear? What do they really need to heal? Whatever it is, it's just the most loving message that comes through. There's a different vibration when he's filtering it.
And that's also a really important message for anybody doing any type of spiritual work, is that it doesn't have to come through and affect us.
Yeah.
Because it shouldn't take a toll on us to do that work.
Yeah.
So I love like the idea of just calling in Azrael for any session, any kind of healing session, to be that conduit for it, to set the tone. And I always think of gratitude being associated with Jophiel, but it's actually just love, and all angels are love. Yes. So it can be any of them. So I think that's a beautiful thought to to ask
Yeah.
Azrael. You had said you'd gotten some messages from Azrael this morning when you were meditating on
Yeah.
us getting together and chatting. I'd love for you to
Yeah.
share that.
Yeah, on a completely, side note, not part of this, I just decided this morning to pull two cards to asking what archangels want to work with me at this time. And of course, I pulled Azrael. Azrael and Jeremiah came through. So I thought that was so funny. And knowing that we were going to talk about him today, then I just sat and asked for some messages. Some of the things that were coming through from him for me lately were him wanting us to be more present in our lives. He can feel our grief and the heaviness and our worry and the fear. And I mean, he's the one that can help comfort so much of that. So here he is trying to just reassure us and say, like, we've got you. Like you said, we've got you. And don't let that be a block. Be present. Enjoy life. Let it all flow, whether it's a beautiful moment that you recognize in that moment and not later. And also the grief and the fear, we can feel it and let it flow and not let us stop us. I think I just got the feeling that he feels that we live our lives so much more intense and worried than we should be from his grander aspect,
Yeah.
And he was saying that grief is an expression of love. And that if we didn't know love, we wouldn't know grief, right? So although we don't want to feel it and it feels awful to us, it's because we love that we're even experiencing that. So there was just this feeling that he is surrounding us with so much love, and he sees love and he sees the beauty in all of this, even in our grief, even in our sadness. He holds us and they love us and find the beauty in that, in our hearts. And there was also a message that how resilient we are and how strong we are, and our ability to be just so heartbroken and in such a heavy and terrible and low place and be able to transform again, to be able to bounce back, maybe not fully the same, right? But to be able to find a way to love again, or to laugh again, or to just pick up and do good in the world again. And he wanted us to know that the angels are in awe of us. Like, they just find so much beauty in us and just so, just love us so much. And they wish that we would see that strength in ourselves. We see ourselves as, fearful or weak at times, and we just don't see our full strength, that they all are just like, oh, you're amazing.
I love that.
So, yeah.
Going back to what a lot of different people say about us having this human experience, is that we came from pure love, and our guides and angels see us as pure love. And the goal through life is for us to learn to see ourselves that way. Yes. So that's my big takeaway from that last message. I just think that's such a beautiful thing.
Also, there was a reminder too that this is the illusion, and the separation is an illusion. Yes. So of course the grief isn't the same for them, because they know that our soul is, you can't break our soul, right? It lives on, lifetime after lifetime, and we evolve and we grow, and we always are coming back to love, and we're going to see our loved ones again, and they're fine and happy where they are. And that all of that is our human construct, and that it's just an illusion. And to try to remember that, even though we're here to be human and feel all of this, right? So it's okay to still grieve. It's not like we shouldn't grieve because we know we're going to see them again. We're going to grieve, and that's okay. But it's comforting to know that.
You also touched on being present, that one of the messages that he said was being present. And that is really hard to do when you're grieving, because you want distraction after distraction. Look at this shiny object. I want to do anything but sit in this grief. And when you do that, all you're doing is continuing the grief. It's going to prolong it. And so I feel like, again, stepping into the comfort and into that place of peace with Archangel Azrael, that letting him support you so you can sit in that space that is uncomfortable to be in. And this is something we've been talking about in the spiritual study group that I lead. And it's like, you have to find a way to look straight at what you're running away from the most. Like, because when you do, you're taking away the power little by little. So whatever you fear the most, being able to stop and sit in that and look at it honestly, without the emotional attachment or just the pain that it causes. And you can do that by calling in Azrael to help you with that. We've talked about Azrael and partnering with other archangels. Jeremiah is the archangel who helps us do the life review. So, it's said that when we pass away, Azrael, he's so beautiful. We just want to go with him. He's that white light that a lot of people describe seeing when they pass away, and he carries our souls to heaven. And then he hands us off to Jeremiah, who then helps us lead our life review, seeing what we accomplished in our lifetime, what goals that we did accomplish and what we still need to work on, what our goals are going to be for the next lifetime. But there's so many other archangels. And this is where I love learning about the archangels, is because you can mix it up. You can do your own little mega mix, like if you're feeling like you don't have the courage to do something or the strength to do something, call in Azrael to sit with Azrael, and then ask Ariel to come in and give you the inner strength and courage to do it. Or Michael to cut the cords, help you cut the cords. If you're scared to leave a situation, you can bring in Michael with Azrael to help, provide that base.
And clearing spaces, right? Earthbound spirits, clearing kind of, you go somewhere and you're getting that kind of feeling, like Azrael, Michael, Metatron to clear that space, like so powerful together. Yeah.
So that's what I love about learning about the archangels. It's really where, why I'm so passionate about this, and I know you are too, is because it's where, for me, my newfound spirituality came from.
Yeah.
Where I really took back the power that, I'm not bashing organized religion, but where I finally understood that I could have a direct connection with God, and I could work with the angels and work with the archangels and learn about all of these different things, that not only to help myself through my, spiritual growth, but to help others learn about it so they can then do this work themselves. And it's so highly personal, and everybody experiences angels differently. Some people see them, some people hear them, some people feel them, and every one of those is right for you. So that's one thing. As you start to work with the angels, remember, everybody is different. They're all going to experience and relate to them differently. And that's the beautiful thing, because for me, spirituality is supposed to be a personal journey. And we can have other people who are in our lives along the way with us and we learn from, but that should not replace our own beliefs,
our own knowing.
So,
and that they need to be, they want to be asked. They want to work with us. They want us to call them in. They're just waiting, and sometimes we think it has to be something big, and it really doesn't. It could just be like, be with me today. I'm feeling sad, and I don't even know why. Just, and they're there. We just need to ask. And also, we were talking about the grief part, but what I love also about the angels and what Azrael was even saying is reminding, it's not always all the transition and all of that stuff. Sometimes it's about the happiness, like wanting to remember more joy. How many times do we experience something that was really fun, but you just don't even recognize it in the moment? And maybe a year or two later, you're like, remember when we did that thing? Like, that was really such a great weekend, or that was years ago, I decided that I had an angel experience where it was like, you're seeing it after, you're not in the moment. It's not the present. So now in the middle of something, I stop and I'm like, happy moment. I just say it, I'll just say it out loud. Because I'm like, I just affirmed it. Like, I'm here, happy moment. And I remember those moments, and that was all because the angels were reminding me they want us to, they're going to help us do the hard stuff, but they want to rejoice with us and dance with us and see us experience all of that joy and happiness and love too. So,
but that's being in the present.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's doing, is being in the present moment. You're not thinking about the future. You're not hung up on the past. You're living in a present, and that's what we're supposed to do. I'm sure over the course of our talking about all the different archangels, we'll talk more about Emmanuel, but that's exactly what it's about. Emmanuel he's not defined as, if he's a seraphim angel or, ascended master or whatever. And an energy that's come through to me. And then later, after I started getting messages from Emmanuel, I found these books of channelings by a woman named Pat Rodegast. And it's pretty wild because all the messages are exactly what Pat shares. And Emmanuel is all about being in the present moment so we can release fear and take the hand of love and live our lives in that present moment and stay connected. It's all about us being one with source and God, or whatever your word for that is, and being able to not only help ourselves but others through this journey of life, and seeing yourself as the angel that you are. So I love that we talked today about Azrael coming in and helping us do that, giving us that little cocoon or safety net that we might need to feel safe to have these explorations. That's really cool. I love it.
Yeah, I think that's what the angels do. Just like you said, it's really like they are what makes us feel safe to have the experiences and to we to go deeper with their help. It just is so much smoother. We don't have to do it on our own, and so many of us try. So it's such a blessing to know they're there.
And just like you said, having that comfort of knowing we're not alone is such a blessing, because so many people feel alone.
Yeah.
And so I love that you brought that up too.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for this conversation. I appreciate you sharing your wisdom. And for those of you that why don't you share your website and just tell people what you do too, Nicole. I'd love for people to get to know you.
Well, I'm a Reiki master teacher. I do Reiki sessions distance and in person, but they're really mixed. It's a mixed bag. I also do like crystal therapy. I work with angels throughout, so there's always a message. I do angel card readings as well. And I hold meditation circles and just some spiritual classes and things like that. My website is I am Nicole Schoen. And my Facebook page is Nicole Schoen also. So yeah, there's kind of just like you, what comes through for me, I just always want to share because I think that it can help someone else, and it's helped me so much in my life. So I just want to put that out there. There's too much other stuff, noise out there, that I think it's just nice to reach people in that way. So
absolutely. Yeah. And I'll put your contact information in the notes so people can find you too. But thank you so much for being a part of this. And I look forward to just talking about angels with you each month or more, however often anytime we do this. All right. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
So as we come to a close with our first podcast, we just want to thank you so much for being here. If this resonated with you, I hope you'll take the time to share it with your friends that might be interested in learning about archangels or spiritual topics. If they're interested in joining the spiritual study group, they can, or you can join us through robbykearns.com. And you also will see on there we have an extended message of the day. I share my cards of the day every day on Facebook and Instagram, and you can find us under guidancefromgratitude.com. If you want to receive an extended message of the day, it might include a meditation, energy work, or just a different card that supports the card of the day. I do send out that, and you can join for as little as $10 a month. So I hope you'll check out those offerings, but thank you so much for being here. I also want to thank Nicole Schoen for being a part of this, and you can find her information and contact information in the notes. All right, everybody, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you again for your support, and I look forward to our next gathering.